So I went ahead and I finished applying a couple other colors very quickly to the model. So I've got rotting flesh all over the skin, and also, I don't know what you'd call this, but the edges or the outers of the wings. And then there were three other colors that I used. So I took Skull White and I applied that to like the bones, the claws, the teeth, the eyes, places like that. And I took Mithril Silver and I applied that to all of the metal. She's got sort of a metal cap on one of her wing claws. She's got a ring that appears to be pierced through her rib cage, because why not? And a couple little metal things on this, I don't know, her little loincloth that she's wearing. And then she also has what appears to be a human hand that is attached to her wing. And so for that I used Nurgling Green, which is, I guess, the most colorful of all the paints that I've applied here. So again, the idea was to just give sort of the backdrop a little bit of color and some shading. And now the washes that I'm going to apply in this stage are really going to bring out the color in the model. And if you weren't aware of this, my Beastmen army has a Nurgle theme to it, so these models lend themselves nicely to playing into that sort of disgusting, rotted appearance that is associated with Nurgle. And so I'm going to go ahead and apply a wash to the wing membrane. So this area, I don't know if that's the right term, but the wing membrane, I didn't add any additional color to. The hair as well, I didn't add any additional color to, because these two areas are going to be pretty dark, and so they didn't need any more color added. So in order to do this, I'm going to mix two washes together in about equal amounts. We have Thraka Green and Ogryn Flesh. And I know these are the antiquated colors. I'm not sure what the new ones are now. But whatever it is you're working with, Citadel paints or otherwise, you should be able to find something similar if you're trying to replicate this process. And I'm just using the same brush I used for the sepia wash, which is a number 4 round brush. So I'm going to mix these two together on my palette. And I really want to get like a grimy, kind of like swampy sewage color going on, which again goes perfectly with the Nurgle theme here. So once I got this mixed up, I'm going to apply it rather heavily right into the wing membrane and also onto that detached human hand. So this should go through. Now it's a second coat of wash on this particular area. Any spots that didn't get covered with the first wash of sepia should now be covered up, and you shouldn't be able to see any primer underneath. So I'm going to take some extra care as I go, looking for those spots, trying to root them out. Now that I've finished applying the wash to the wing membrane and the rotting hand, I'm going to go ahead and wash the skin. Now, as you should probably be able to tell, the wash on the wing membrane isn't dry yet, but that doesn't matter because I'm going to be washing a separate area. Should be fine to do them both at the same time. So for the skin, I'm going for sort of like a bruised, sickly appearance. It's just lovely to talk about, isn't it? So to do this, I'm going to use another mixture, about 50% Leviathan Purple, and I'm going to mix that with Ogryn Flesh just like I did the green. And so I will go ahead and mix this up on the palette. All the parts that I'm going to be washing now in this second round of washing, I'm going to be using Ogryn Flesh either by itself or in a mixture. And I found that sort of brings some cohesion to the model. It's got a couple different colors going on. and having the ochre and flesh as a unifying force sort of makes them all look natural next to one another, not very stark contrast, even though the color changes are pretty significant. So I mix this up on my palette and go ahead and apply it pretty generously, just like I did with the other washes, onto all of the skin. The next wash that I'm going to apply is just straight ochre and flesh. I'm going to put this on the claws, the teeth, any of those areas. So you can see that I've still got my purple and green washes drying. But again, that shouldn't be a problem if they're still wet as I move on to this next step. Okay, so the last color that I'm going to wash now is Nuln Oil, or Badab Black. They are the same thing, the black wash. I'm going to put that in two places. I'm going to put it on the hair, because I want the hair to be pretty dark and sort of colorless. Like, again, reinforcing this idea that she's pretty sickly. And I'm also going to put it on any bits of metal that haven't been covered with a different color wash, just to add some depth and shading to them, which looks like just this one, I don't know, metal covering on her claw. Alright, good to go.